Today on the channel we're going to attempt to give this guitar a swirl paint job. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at this BC Rich guitar that I was given last year, I believe. I'm going to put a swirl paint job on this guitar. At least that's the plan, and I've never done that before. I've been looking at it, looking at directions on how to do it for a long time, and people have recommended to me that, man, you need to do a swirl, and I've never attempted it, but I've got some paint coming in the mail today, and I figured I would start the disassembly process of this guitar. If you look closely on this thing, there's some cracks in the wood. It looks like there are cracks in the wood. It may be the poly, I'm not sure. So I'm gonna have to do some sanding on this guitar and probably, you know, at least get it scuffed up really good. Possibly put some filler in here. I'm not sure if this is going to come off when I sand it. I don't know if these cracks are in the wood or if it's part of the poly. It's hard to say, man. This is a pretty thick coat on here. This could be a really difficult project that I dread that I'm doing. Looks like we've got a little bit of a piece right here that's jammed, you know, and on the edges, the corners. So I've got to get this whole thing taken apart, get the neck removed, and take the pickups out, the tremolo system, all the parts and pieces. Not too difficult. And this is kind of a shell pink color, which is, it's kind of cool, I guess. But I'm going to sand this neck down, and I don't think I'm going to swirl the neck. I think I'll wind up doing some kind of just a satin type feel on the back of the neck. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, anyway, let me get to tearing this thing apart and get all the parts out of it first. We'll go from there. Okay, so check it out. This is the body without the parts. I took all the pickups out and the tremolo bar, all the volume, tone, and switches, got the neck off of it, and this is the crack that I'm talking about. There's a few smaller ones. That one's pretty bad right there. This one's terrible. And then, you know, you've got little cracks here. On the back side of it, we've got this right here, and then there's some up in this section. There are little chips on the corners of the horns. On just about every horn there's some kind of chip. So I'm going to have to take some really heavy-duty sandpaper, or maybe even my sander itself, and get as much of this poly off of this guitar as I can. It looks like these cracks are in the wood, but I'm not entirely sure. I may wind up just sanding this down, getting it really, you know, buffed, or not buffed, but really rough, getting it, you know, scuffed up as good as I can, and then maybe put some filler in there perhaps, and I'm going to prime it before I dip it. The neck is in good shape. I mean, this is a nice looking neck. I've got the tuners off of it. This is a made in Korea. BC Rich, I believe it's from the late 90s. Check out this neck, where they put this neck on here, where it broke. A lot of these screws that attached the pickups and the back plate didn't want to come out. In fact, the screw, just shoddy materials, man. Really shoddy build. This strap button right here, the screw broke off in the wood when I was taking it out of the guitar, and one of the pickup bracket screws snapped off in the guitar. So I mean, it's, you know, I don't know what was going on with this guitar when they built it, and the guy got it from, who gave it to me, never did any modifications to it, so it's just old and cheap. But we're gonna swirl it. If all goes well, we'll have some kind of fun when we're done with it. So, guess I better get to sanding and inspecting these cracks on this body a little bit more closer. Hopefully it's not that bad, but it is what it is. Okay, so the next day I Well, I caught a cold. I'm losing my voice, which kind of sucks. But I've looked at this crack a little bit deeper. I was able to sand down with some 80 grit sandpaper, and it does look like it's a little bit in the wood. So I've got me some little bit of wood filler. I'm going to sand down a little bit further, get this whole body sanded down, fill the wood, and lightly sand that down so it's nice and smooth, and prime it. So I got some really good primer. Once I get it primed, then we'll do a trial run dip and see how it goes. I'm also going to tape off the neck and sand this down and prime it and paint this neck a different color. I'll make a decision after I get the swirl paint job is successful. I'll make a decision on neck color after that. So next step is to sand this down further, get it scuffed up, fill up some of these cracks, and get it primed. Alright, so this looks really, really good. I've got this sanded down. I can't feel any of the wood filler on here, and the cracks are completely full. With the wood filler, the front and back look really nice. No signs of cracks, nothing. Now I'm going to prime it. Going to rinse it off again, wipe it down, get all the dust off of it. Everything feels real chalky. So the primer ought to stick to it real nice. And then we'll sand that primer down just a little bit, and it'll be ready to dip. And I guess I'll go ahead and get the neck sanded down as well. I put some wood filler in the neck slots to the holes here where the wood had come out from the neck being removed or installed improperly. So I'm going to get that sanded down. And we may dip this neck too when we do the swirl. If the swirl paint job comes out good, I mean, Who knows? Maybe a bust. All right, let's get this thing primed. All right, so the primer coat came out really nice. I'm really happy with it. You can barely see the wood line, the cracks that were in it. The wood filler did its job just fine. Now I'm going to paint this thing a cherry red, just because I want my base coat to be a little bit darker, and I just happen to have some cherry red paint that looks really nice. So I'm going to run over this real fast with some 600 grit paper just to get it a little bit smoother, and spray it red, and then once that dries, we'll dip the guitar. I did run a test dip. I dipped a little ornament, a Halloween skull, last night in some purple and yellow paint, some enamel that I had, and it came out really cool. So I'm pretty excited. Hopefully the bucket I've got is good enough for doing this, and we'll get some colors together, and after we get this thing painted red, I'll show it to you. Then we'll dip it. Okay. Awesome. All right, so here is the guitar. I painted it fire engine red in gloss enamel. My voice is still shot from being sick, so bear with me. But anyway, we're just about ready to get this thing dipped. I'm going to put it in the, dip it into a can full of some different colors, and I'm going to show that process. So let's get started. All right, everybody, that was a interesting experience, to say the least. As you can tell, I'm still under the weather. I've been sick for a few days, so I apologize for my voice. It's really put me behind in content creation, so that sucks. But, you know, I can talk a little bit, so I wanted to finish up part one of this video. Now, I want to let you know, I'm going to show you the guitar here in just a second. But, you know, mistakes were made. This was my first hydro dip. Next time I do it, I'm going to get some magic marble, marbling paint, because it'll be better. But I know that you can do it with spray paint. I used Rust-Oleum spray paint, and I sprayed it into containers and used eyedroppers. I just wanted to see how the process worked before I invested a lot of money into paints and trying a guitar that I really wanted to invest a lot of effort into. So I used the BC Rich that I got for free that had some damage, and
was a good test run. And in all honesty, it came out good. I really like the results. So let's take a look at it, and I'll give you my perspective on issues that I had using the spray paint, things I'd have done different, and what the next steps are going to be, okay? So let's check it out. Okay, so here's the body, obviously, the front and the back. I think the back came out cooler looking. I really like the, this part right here. And it's surprisingly smooth. This, since I've been sick, I haven't been able to really do anything for a few days. So this guitar has dried for 4 days, and it's completely dry. It's, it's not tacky at all. It's a little bit, you can feel a little bit of the paint on this front end right here, but everything is really smooth. So what I'm going to do is sand it down lightly so I don't remove any of this paint. Just lightly rub over it with maybe some 600 or 800 grit sandpaper, wet sand it a little bit, and put the neck on it. One thing I did notice using the enamel spray paint is when you swirl it, it dries really fast on top of the water, and it kind of gets this gelatinous feel to it, and it can clump. So you gotta do it fast. When all the tutorial videos mention that, and you don't realize, really, you gotta kind of go quick. Once you drop the paint in the water, you can't wait. You gotta drop it in, know what you're doing, swirl it, dip it, pull it out kind of quick. Because what happens is you'll get a little bit of brown, because brown is when you get all those colors mixed together, it'll turn a color that like a tapioca or a weird color. So there were some clumps when I pulled the guitar out, and trying to wipe those off, it's going to turn brown. So in this section, I've got kind of this ugly spot right there, which, happy accident, I guess. I don't really care. And there's a little bit of a clump, little bit on this corner that I'm going to sand down. It's, but not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, there's one right there. The neck came out a lot better. After I did the body, I realized what I did wrong with the timing, so I got the neck in and out faster, and the neck looks nicer, which I'll show you right now. So let's take a look at the neck, okay? Cool. All right, so check this out. This is where my painter's tape is on the neck. I haven't taken the tape off, and this is going to be the headstock. It says BC Rich on it, so all this will look nice. It should, hopefully, when I take the tape off of it. But the back of it looks like this. And I should have used more. I think I should have used more blue on the body. I mean, I could redip it, but I'm going to leave it the way that it is. But it almost looks to me like lava, like ocean water and lava. So it's kind of cool. But this is surprisingly smooth, and this one didn't really clump at all because I did this a little faster when I did the hydro dipping. I was holding onto this. Well, my bucket, one thing I learned is I measured the bucket and I tested it with water before, but it still wouldn't get to the top right here. So this is where the neck plate's gonna go anyway. So, I mean, it's not gonna be it's gonna be inside the body. So you won't really be able to see this red much at all, but I don't really mind that, but it came out nice. I think this was fun. So what I'm going to do before this video is up, I'm going to sand this down a little bit off camera. I may film it a little bit just for kicks, and assemble put the neck back on the guitar and take this tape off, and we'll be able to see what it looks like before we put the electronics back into it. Before I put it back together, I am going to clear coat it. So once I clear coat it, I want it to look a little bit glossier. That'll look nicer as well. So I'm going to sand this down a little bit and get it clear coated and stick the neck back on the body. Okay, so everything is put back together. This has been a 6-day project, and I wanted to share with you the final result here. Yeah, so I'm actually pretty proud of this thing for being a really beat up, shell pink, cracked, unplayable BC Rich before. Now I've got a playable guitar that looks to me like lava forming in the ocean. You know, when the lava comes up from, off the islands of Hawaii, it mixes with the ocean water and it looks, kind of orange and red and blue. But that's what this reminds me of. That's what I wasn't going for, but I was just going for whatever, but that's how it turned out. So I'll get some close-up shots of this for you to look at in, up close, which I'll do here in just a second. But yeah, I put new knobs on it. I'm not done with this thing yet. I want to put some new, I got to put a new tone and volume pot and a new 3-way switch. It's real scratchy. It needs a new output jack. So, electronic work will be done later. But I really like how the back of the neck came out. It was really nice how just the colors, everything just kind of worked together. I think the red as a base coat was a good idea. You can see some of the, when you analyze it, you can see where there was a crack on it, but it looks so much better than it did. And it was a fun project, so that's what it's all about. So let's take a look at this thing up close. All right, so there you have it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I know it's not perfect, but all things considered, I think it came out pretty awesome, and it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot of stuff from it. Hopefully this was beneficial or at least entertaining for you watching this video. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing, and until next time, have a great day. Peace out.